here with, and then can you introduce yourself, please? Just tell
Michael
us.
Eric Dyson, Georgetown University professor, homeboy from Detroit. What up, West Side?
All right, you have it. So I just have a few questions today, kind of, get to pick your brain a little bit. I know everybody's been doing that, so you might get a little tired of it.
That's all right, not at all.
I'll make this as quick as possible for you. So, starting with your book, what influenced you to write Tears We Cannot Stop? Like, what was your passion behind that?
Well, look, there were a couple of deaths of black men who were unarmed. Alton Sterling and Philando Castile. Castile in Minneapolis, working in school system there, was in a car with his girlfriend. Police stopped him. He said, "Look, I have a legally registered gun." 7 seconds later, he's dead. And she live streamed it on Facebook. Then Alton Sterling was down in Louisiana and selling CDs. The police accost him, stopped him, take him down to the ground, and then shoot him without provocation. I had enough. I wrote an op-ed for the New York Times. That garnered over 2,500 responses. They had to shut down the response mechanism for the New York Times, and a publisher was interested in it, talked to me, and then I wrote my book based upon that. So that's where this book grew out of.
I definitely remember those stories. There was something that's all over the news, all over your social
Exactly.
media. Everybody talked about it.
That's right, that's right.
So with that being said, are you optimistic about the future of racial relations in this country, or how do you feel about that?
Yeah, there's a theologian named Ronald Niebuhr who said, hope is deeper than optimism. Optimism is based upon you reading the tea leaves and does it look good. Hope says even when it looks dead and not possible, something can arise from it. So I'm more hopeful than optimistic. I'm not optimistic about race because too many signs point to negative occurrences, but I'm hopeful that despite what we see, the perennial pursuit of goodness and moral virtue and recreation that this country can do at its best will occur, and that those who are interested in dealing with racial problems and traumas outnumber those who want to impose them. So yeah, I'm hopeful.
Thank you. So what are your concerns, about the growing political and racial divides that we do have in our communities, in our country, that are going on daily?
It's pretty horrible. Besides the economic and social and political realities, and we all know what they are, persistent, inequality of schools for young people of color. If you're, white and you're out in $60, $70, $80 million school in the suburbs, you're doing fine. But as long as the tax base is the basis for education, people in the inner city don't get good schools or good education necessarily. The prison industrial complex, the social hurt, trauma, and pain that we have endured as a nation, and the like, all of those things are real and have to be confronted. But let's be honest, the President of the United States of America, Donald Trump, has done so much to harm and hurt relations between people of color in the dominant society, and he has given voice to, and I think in his administration at least, and permission to harmful, hateful, racialized, and racist forces to come back out into the open and to express themselves with lethal intensity. And I think we need to hold him accountable for that.
Yeah, I've definitely had conversations in some of my classes about that. I think people in administration, and he's just giving people voices. They're giving the it's okay sign.
That's
to
right.
sit here and say the things and do the things they do.
That's exactly
people
right.
are like, okay, well, he's doing it, so I can do it.
I can do
Get
it
away
as well.
with it.
No.
Exactly.
Exactly right.
So then, what can young people like us, bring to bring about a greater understanding and togetherness? Just bring awareness to these issues. Try to make people understand what's happening.
Right. Well, first of all, just acknowledging them is important. The fact that you're talking about them, that you're aware of them, that they're not hoodwinking you or somehow bamboozling you, as Malcolm X would say, but you know what's going on. That's number one, to say it. Number two is when you identify it, to say we're not going to stand for it. We're not going to just take that as, business as usual. No, we don't have to be like that. We don't have to practice our, patriotism that way. We don't have to be religious that way. We don't have to act as Americans that way. So we gotta say no to the negative, implications of a narrow interpretation of, what it means to be an American, and choose, a more, powerful path, a brighter possibility that no, we don't have to act like that and be, horrible and hate other people to be truly American. And we've got to call out those negative things when we see them and embrace those things that are good, that we see are good when we come across them.
Yeah, most definitely. So just kind of two more questions for you. So as a minister, what do you think the church should play in solving some of the problems we face today? What role do they have in that?
Well, they got to play a big. I come out of a tradition and a wing of the church that says we got to be prophetic, we got to be prophets. We got to say what thus saith the Lord. We got to call out racial injustice, economic inequality. We got to call out homophobia. We got to call out sexism and patriarchy and misogyny. We got to call out other ableism. Well, where we like ableism, where we only see those who are physically fit as worthy of support and so on. So we got to talk about other ableism and other abilities. So we got to call these isms out. We got to speak honestly and straightforwardly to them, and we got to stop connecting religion to the things that are horrible. God is not a God of punishment, beating people up and telling them what they can't do and judging them. That's what human beings do. And a lot of us try to get God to co-sign our bigotry, and God stand on our side to beat up on people. You know, I released a post on Instagram supporting Jussie Smollett, and these people, black people or people in the church, what do you mean the church shouldn't even be involved with this? And, there are things called sins, and if they're sinning, then they shouldn't do this. Well, I don't buy that. I think that's wrong. I think we should challenge the church. I think we should challenge our religious institutions to make them more just and more equitable. And we've got to be self-critical and say there are things that are great about our religion and things that are not great. And when we do that, we'll have a better understanding of how to proceed in the world and do the right thing.
Yeah, I watched that video, I think yesterday, is when you posted it a couple days ago.
All right.
And the part where you said that we usually love the sinner but hate the sin.
Right.
I've heard that growing up forever.
Oh,
so I've definitely related to that video. Definitely, I have, some issues with people saying that. Like,
Right.
I feel exactly how you feel with it. That we
Okay.
can't sit here and bash the person. We love them, and that's what we need to do.
That's exactly right. Well, if you believe it, then I know I'm on the right path.
All right, and then just one more question for you. So who are your role models? So who were them growing up or just even now?
Right. Well, coming up, my pastor, Dr. Frederick George Sampson II, what an incredible human being. Judge Damon Keith, who was a federal judge in my church. John Conyers, a congressman in my church. Mrs. James, my 5th grade teacher, was a hero of mine and gave me a sense of who I am. My 3rd grade teacher, Mrs. Harvey. My 6th grade teacher, Mrs. Morris. Ms. Reed. 7th grade teacher, Miss Stewart. 8th grade teacher, Miss Click. I can go on, Mr. Burdette, Miss Sutton. Madame Black. My teachers were so important to me. They gave me a sense of who I am, what I could do, what I could achieve, how high I could fly, and that nothing could hold me back. And they would stand behind me and love me and support me.
All right, thank you so much for that. It was very nice having you here. I'm glad you came out.
Thank you so much. Good to meet you.
Me too.
And thank you all for having me on the show.
No problem.
Hi guys, so Michael Eric Dyson's new book, What Truth Sounds Like, was actually chosen for Amazon Kindle's monthly Dear promotion for February. And so it's actually priced at $2.99 right now on all ebook retailers. So go ahead and check that out. Thanks.